What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another of This Week in Sports. I am your host, the one, the only, Romeo Sharp. And behind the camera, we got Noah. Noah, how you feeling today? No, Noah?
I told you not to go.
Noah, I want to know how you feeling today, though, bro.
Tired.
You're tired? Man, well, we had, what was it? What was yesterday? St. Patty's Day, man. I hope you guys had a good St. Patty's Day and all that. A quick little thing, I want to give a shout out to my sister. If you're watching this or if you're listening to this, I want to give you just a shout out and, just give you your flowers, give you your appreciation. If many of y'all don't know, my sister, she's a hooper. She balls. She plays over at a community college out here in California. And, I just want to really just give her a shout out, like appreciate her. She played really well this last season. She was top 3 in both points and rebounds this season. She definitely she was averaging a double this year. So just seeing her play, it kind of opened up, for me, and I guess I can say for me personally, opened up a gateway to watching women's sports. I can say, confidently, and unfortunately, like I don't really tune into women's sports as much as I should. And no, just seeing her, it really just like sparked something in me that wanted to, give women's sports their appreciation as well, and bring in a new audience in terms of me. And I hope it can do the same for you guys, because there's some in terms of basketball, there were some ballers on the women's side. You had Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, who actually is the all-time leading scorer in the WNBA, and who just recently retired. So congratulations to her on her career. You have Caitlin Clark, who's now the new face of the WNBA, I believe. Angel Reese as well. Bring it down to the D1 college level. You got Haley Van Lith, who transferred from LSU to TCU, who's doing really well as over there at TCU. And then you got Juju Watkins as well, the sophomore over there at USC. So just overall, I want to give my sister a shout out. She's really opened my eyes to just women's sports, and she's doing amazing. She's been doing amazing ever since we were kids. When we were kids, we both would play. We would play in the yard together. My older brother didn't really play with us, so me and her would go into the yard, and I'd throw the football to her, teach her how to catch, teach her how to throw, and all that stuff. So I just want to give her shout out real quick. So
She's better than you?
in terms of basketball,
Yes, in terms of basketball.
in terms of basketball, oh yeah, she's definitely got that. She got the edge over me in basketball, I'd say. In terms of football, though, and I wholeheartedly will take the credit for it. I really taught her everything she knew in football, and then she just grew from there. I was like the starting point for her in terms of football. So she did play a little bit in high school. She played some in middle school as well. And I'm not talking flag with other girls. She actually played with boys. She played full on tackle. She played every position you can name, minus the O-line and D-line. But she played receiver. She played corner, safety. She played quarterback even. But like I said, I just want to give my sister a shout out. And if you are listening to this, I love you so much. And I just really hope you strive. You do amazing. And we're gonna really work on getting those offers for you. So we got to get you out there, so you could be the next face of the league in college basketball, and then in the WNBA hopefully soon. So like I said, I just want to give a shout out to my sister. And now with all that being said, y'all, let's get into some more sports though. So it's been a week, what I'm saying, y'all, and this just came in right now that the 2-time Super Bowl champion Brandon Graham has retired. So the 36-year-old defensive end is hanging it up. He's a former first-round pick. He was a 13th pick in 2010 draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. He ended his career with 76.5 sacks, which is third all-time in franchise history for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Brandon Graham is probably, when you think of Philadelphia Eagles, you think of Jason Kelce. You think of Jalen Hurts right now, and Saquon Barkley, like those names, and then also Brandon Graham, like he's a household. He was like the staple of that Philadelphia franchise, y'all. He had 487 total tackles in his career. He had 22 forced fumbles as well. One of his best plays I can remember, it came from Super Bowl 52 actually, when the Eagles played Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. and it was late in the fourth quarter, and it was to secure their first Super Bowl in franchise history as well. He got a strip sack on Tom Brady, who is the greatest quarterback of all time. So just shout out to Brandon Graham on a tremendous career, and hopefully everything outside of that goes really well for him. So, and when we look at this, y'all, there's been a lot of turnover in Philly after winning the Super Bowl. And it's normal. It's normal with any team winning the Super Bowl. It's normal with a lot of teams. You get a lot of turnover. A lot of these players, they're on the spotlight. They're right there. You know what I'm saying? You see them on the biggest stage. A lot of teams want to pick at your franchise and get those players. Get those players that were key contributors or are looking to make big lucrative deals with other teams as well. They lost 4 starters this offseason so far. They lost Josh Sweat in free agency. Mekhi Becton, they lost him as well. They also lost Darius Slay. They traded him. And they also traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Now, what I'm thinking what they're doing here, y'all, I gave Howie Roseman his flowers early on in this podcast. I believe episode 1 it was. So I gave him his flowers. And so what I'm thinking is, he's just looking long term. The reason why he's letting some of these guys go, letting some of these guys get traded, because he has younger guys that he's gonna have to pay later down the line. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. You're gonna have to pay those guys later down the road. They also lost some key contributors. Milton Williams signed a huge deal with the New England Patriots. You lost Isaiah Rodgers as well. So you just all these pieces around you just falling up, like going elsewhere. But they also had some key re-signings. Like I said, they re-signed Zach Bond, which was really huge for them. He played tremendous. Like I said, his story is incredible, y'all. Just going from just a special teams guy in New Orleans, just being anything around there, not being the star player, and then coming to Philadelphia and just really making a name for himself. And then they also re-signed Saquon Barkley. Now, Saquon Barkley they made him the highest paid running back in NFL history with his 2-year extension. So my question to you guys is, how will Howie Roseman respond to all this turnover? Do you think the Eagles will be able to bounce back and avoid a Super Bowl hangover now? Because a lot of teams, when they get a Super Bowl hangover, it's just sometimes it could be really bad. Let's take my Denver Broncos, for instance. They won the Super Bowl back in 2015, and their Super Bowl hangover lasted almost damn near 10 years, y'all. 10 years until so from 2015 until this last season, they did not make the playoffs until this prior season that just passed. So Super Bowl hangovers that can really make or break a team. Like I said, that turnover really is what can really change a franchise around. Losing all these players just based off of just their performances and stuff like that. And it's the way the game works. The bad teams got a lot of money, and they want to get those good players off those great teams, and those great teams usually just don't have the money like that. So,
hey, cutie, can you put your mic up again?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, guys, sorry, we're having a little bit of production issues, but I don't know what's up with this fucking mic boom arm or whatever the fuck you call it. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, this thing's tweaking. But and just speaking of front offices, let's move on over to the Cincy front office. So, I posted on Instagram not too long ago, and it was about Cincinnati and their front office, y'all. And it's just, I thought, now I'm thinking back, what the hell were they doing? So if you date back all the way to last year, with the Cincinnati Bengals, that is, they were having a hard time trying to pay Jamar Chase. They were having a hard time trying to pay T. Higgins. So they gave him the franchise tag last year, and then they just didn't pay Jamar Chase. And I'm surprised, that he didn't sit out at all last year, but it actually benefited him that he didn't, because again, Jamar Chase was a Triple Crown winner, y'all. He led the league in receptions, led the league in touchdowns, and also led the league in receiving yards. So again, that's he was the Triple Crown winner, and then T. Higgins contributed a lot for the Cincinnati team. Granted, they did not make the playoffs, so them not making the playoffs, I'm thinking, okay, Jamar Chase just had a huge season. T. Higgins played really well this season. You know, you got likes of Trey Hendrickson that played really well, led the league in sacks. Like they had a triple crown in terms of like, and you know, got Joe Burrow playing out amazing as well, and not making the playoffs. This made me think, okay, the front office screwed up badly. The market for these receivers are gonna go up. The market for Trey Hendrickson is gonna go up, which it did with the DK Metcalf signing traded to Pittsburgh. You've seen the market just reset on all these players, and it's like Cincy, it's like you're moving backwards instead of forwards. Yes, you guys didn't make the playoffs, and maybe you needed to really reset things in terms of the franchise. But seeing them franchise tag T. Higgins for 2 years in a row, and then again just didn't pay Jamar last offseason, you know, it had a lot of people worrisome. But not to fret, y'all. Not to fret at all, because we're a week removed from Myles Garrett being the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history to now Jamar Chase gets his money. He gets what he deserves. This is well-deserved. Now Jamar Chase is getting paid 4 years, $161 million. That is around $40.25 million a year. Like I said, well-deserved, and now he is the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. They reset the market with this team. Now, and T. Higgins also got an extension as well. So he got a full year, $115 million extension. So now if we look at it, they have the highest paid wide receiver, the highest paid wide receiver 2, and the second highest paid quarterback in NFL history right now. So that trio right there, they locked them up in Cincy. I'm really hoping, you know, and within that 4-year contract that they gave the extension for those two, and obviously with Joe Burrow's contract, they can hopefully squeeze in a Super Bowl win, not just a Super Bowl appearance. They had one back in 21, I believe it was, against the LA Rams, but fell short against Matthew Stafford and them boys. But you know, they got them locked up. But you know that, you know, all that being said, like that defensive side, like I believe like. Combined, I think they're $124 million on average in cap for those three guys, that trio of Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. Now that defensive side is, I think it's like $72 million, in cap. So like they're spending more on that trio than on that defensive side. But I believe for that defensive side, since he's really gonna just kind of build in the draft. Which they probably should, just because, and hopefully they draft well. If they can draft well on the defensive side, there's no need to worry. Like, Joe Burrow's not going anywhere. He's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And also Jamar Chase, best receiver. And with T. Higgins as well. Like, that wide receiver duo, I'm thinking that might be one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL right now. Just because we actually seen them play. I know we have a lot of like new acquisitions that went to new teams with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, maybe, you know, Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith-Njigba. Like, obviously we don't know how those guys are gonna play out. But we've seen what T. Higgins and Jamar Chase can do, y'all. So it's like, it was really, really good. You know, I was giving Cincy a hard time, and I'm sure a lot of like fans were giving them a hard time as well. Like, what are they doing there? Why aren't they paying these guys? Why are they being stingy? You know, that's a recipe for disaster. You know, not paying these guys, because then these guys want to leave and go play somewhere else, and then the whole team just blows up. So, you know, congrats. You know what I'm saying? Money really makes you do a lot of things. So, you know, shout out to, you know, Jamar Chase for being the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. T. Higgins definitely deserved his contract extension as well. I thought he was about to be up out of there, T. Higgins, and go and be a wide receiver 1 somewhere else instead of being, you know, behind the shadows of Jamar Chase. So just shout out to them, and just shout out to that front office over there in Cincy for, you know, doing something right. Just because I feel like it's been some time for this team to actually, you know, do something right, and they finally did it. So, you know, it's March, by the way, y'all. And with March comes March Madness in college basketball. And it starts today with a First Four end game as well. I forgot who's playing. Some teams about to play like at 3 p.m. right now. I'm not too sure who it is. I think Alabama State or something like that. No, if you can check whoever plays at 3 p.m. Like, it's just two like 16 seed teams, I believe, that are playing. Or 15 seed, my fault. But SDSU plays St. Francis. Okay, yeah. So, and And I know SDSU plays today as well. They play UNC for the 11th seed to play Ole Miss starting, I believe. I don't know if it was on Friday, I believe, or something around those lines. But they're led by their two guards, Nick Boyd and Miles Bird, and their 7-footer, Magung Watt. And I really think I can see SDSU taking down UNC. That's my alma mater, so I might be a little biased. And also shout out to the women's basketball team who won the Mountain West Championship as well last week. And they're like the 11th seed in the women's bracket. So we'll see how far they go. That's the women's bracket definitely seems like it's kind of cookie cut in terms of who might actually win that. Overall, though, in this bracket, y'all, it is SEC dominated. There's 14 teams in play here from the SEC, which I think is the most in tournament history. With the only two teams being, I believe, South Carolina and LSU for the men's side not making it in. But let's kind of look. I'm gonna pull up right quick. I need to look at this bracket, y'all. Now, when I'm looking at this bracket, a couple teams stand out to me. One of the teams that stand out to me is UC San Diego, which this is their first time in first year of eligibility being into the bracket, and they made it. And they played really outstanding this year too. They're one of the 4 or 5 teams, I believe, in college basketball with 30 wins. And they're playing Michigan, so. Looking at that team, that looks like I'm looking at UC San Diego. That's probably one of my Cinderella teams I can see pushing it towards at least the Sweet 16. And then if I'm looking here, a couple upsets. I think Yale can take down Texas A&M. Yale went pretty far last year, and I think it can kind of do the same thing this year. But if I look down below, if we look at the West region, when I'm looking at the West region, that 7 and 10. That 2 and 15 bracket right there, you have Kansas and Arkansas playing. So you got, and this is the first ever in the round of 64 to feature 2 coaches with 50-plus career tournament wins. You got John Calipari and Bill Self. Those guys are facing off against each other, so that's going to be a really good game. And then you also got St. John's, led by Rick Pitino, who may be regarded as one of the greatest college coaches ever. And seeing those 3 guys, potentially most likely, 2 of them facing off in the second round, that brings a lot of excitement. I feel like I'm really excited to see how St. John's plays. I'll get into that about St. John's. But when we look over at the East, you got the likes. You got Duke, who has the number 1 seed, and I really believe I can see Duke going all the way in terms of this. Looking at this bracket, if I'm looking down below. At the Midwest, you got Kentucky. I like seeing Kentucky in their matchup against Troy. You also got Tennessee versus Warford, so that's probably another lock right there. But I'm looking at this. With March Madness being starting up, we've seen a lot of crazy upsets, a lot of crazy highlights. In terms of the March Madness bracket. And I just want to know your guys' opinion. Like, who do you believe is gonna take it all the way? Do you have a Cinderella team that's gonna really just stand out in front of you? Just let me know down below, y'all. Yeah, I'm looking at this bracket. Noah, have you looked at the bracket at all yet?
I'm not gonna lie to you. This year is probably gonna be my first time actively watching college basketball, both women's and men's, because I don't know, I haven't. It's a lot. It's a lot, So, but yeah, this year is probably gonna be my first time. I know that SDSU is doing really good, so I'm from San Diego. It's probably easier to just go for the San Diego teams.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, SDSU they're a different team than they were in the years past that made the Elite Eight and made the championship game. They're a bit different team this year, and they're not in a favorable bracket either in terms of who they might have to face, because they might have to touch bases with Michigan State. Marquette's really good, and then Iowa State is really good as well. So they're not in the most favorable bracket, and then they will have to face off against possibly Auburn or anything, or some team like that. So. And then, like I said, when you see San Diego, like that's pretty exciting too. To just have 2 two San Diego teams, like you said, just be in this bracket and just in terms of and the women's bracket as well. SDSU's in there as well. So just I'm excited to see really where this goes. So. I usually don't watch college basketball, y'all. Like during the season, I really just wait until the bracket or the March Madness tournament starts, and that's where I really get in tune with it. Kind of the same with NBA as well. I don't like I might watch like the second half of the season, but like I said, I'm casual when it comes to college basketball and NBA as well. So just
Do you think you started becoming more of a fan of college basketball when you were going to SDSU?
Yeah, honestly, yes. That's probably what it was because when I went to my community college, like I didn't really go to any of their games just because I don't think they were that good. But as soon as I got to SCSU, it just felt more exciting because like our men's team in particular, like they had a lot of success in terms of like in the tournament or just overall as a team, like they had team success. So I think going to SCSU and then I've been to some of the games and I've been to the watch party when they played UConn and UConn beat up on them in the national championship game. But I think me going to SCSU really did make me want to watch college basketball.
It's more of a lifestyle over there too now because I mean, I know for sure that SDSU has always been a party school, but it seems like nowadays they're more they're more in tune with like sports now, just because we're actually good or they're actually good. The
basketball team. Yeah, in terms of basketball, yes, they're good. Football, that's a different. That's a different story. We'll see how they do. They just don't bring in big recruits in terms of football. Nothing flashy. Like basketball, they can bring in because of the resume that the head coach has over there at SCSU. Like he can bring in talent. It's just in terms of football, it's different. We're not the most expensive school. We don't got the most money in terms of NIL and stuff like that. We're probably one of the lower tiers in terms of that. Like we're not your big SEC school, so it's like we can't bring in a lot of talent in terms of football. But basketball, like a lot of guys want to come and play over here. So
and he can say this too because he worked for the San Diego State football team.
I can say this. This is
He's witnessed it firsthand.
I've witnessed it firsthand watching. The downfall of the SCSU football team because I worked as an equipment manager over there, and just seeing like watching the practices. I mean, it was just different. It was an old school type of team, and it just doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work with college. You can't work with 18, 19-year-olds in football and expect them to react well to a coach that acts like Bill Belichick. You know what I'm saying? Bill Belichick had the Patriot way, and now him over at UNC and stuff like that. He's kind of bringing that over there too. But it's harder to deal with 18, 19-year-olds, like I said, with that type of coaching. You need to have like a younger, sprawly kind of guy, in which they did get in Sean Lewis, but it's not panning out too well. And now I think they're moving to the Pac-12 or something. I think they're making the move to the Pac-12 and playing and being in that conference now starting next year. So it's just I don't know.
Yeah, you can obviously tell that Romeo can talk about this all day. Talk about SDSU football all day.
I could because it was tough watching. It was when I went, it was tough watching, and it's still tough watching I still keep up with them, and like I said, it's just. Seeing I'm not bagging them because I know a couple guys on the SCSU team. One of our Xavier Hamlet. He shout out to him. He won the community. He made the first team all community service. So he's been helping out the homeless and stuff like that out in San Diego. He's been purchasing I think he got $7,000 worth of sleeping bags or something like that. And he always goes out there and tries to get them free haircuts and stuff like that. So shout out to him and stuff, really helping out the community. And I hope he really improves over there at SCSU as well and really just brings more winning mentality over there because they need that. They need something like that, and I think that's going to spark. I mean, going out there and helping the community is definitely going to spark, I feel like this team moving forward. So.
While we're on San Diego, I mean, I know that, we have 24 minutes in right now, but while we're on San Diego, what do you think about us getting, because we just got not a football team, but like a soccer team, right? And then we got the Gulls, the San Diego Gulls. When do you think that we just got the San Diego Clippers back, but when do you think that we're going to get an actual like NBA team?
Ooh, I don't. That's a tough one. I think the main thing is really just like where would the stadium or where would the arena be at? You know what I'm saying? Like if I look at downtown, like if you look at downtown San Diego, I don't know if there's any space really to really put a stadium in downtown unless they're gonna try to build something, miles away from actual San Diego. Just like for the San Diego Clippers, they're in Oceanside, aren't they? Like,
yeah, they're not even really even San Diego.
Yeah, so they're not really in San Diego. They're up in Oceanside, so you're gonna have to take a 30-minute drive just to go. And I do want to go to a San Diego Clipper game one time, y'all. We're gonna try to work things out. Hopefully in the next couple of years or whatever, but. Next couple
Damn
months
years.
I was like a couple months, maybe. We'll see how that goes. But I hope we can get something like that because like I said, I know they made that new stadium over there, and it's just for the football team, but it's still small. It's honestly a soccer stadium, so it's really just for soccer. So I really hope we do get a basketball team. That'll be really amazing. That'll bring more excitement to San Diego. But we don't need it. We don't need no more people. Actually, we don't need no more people in San Diego. It's already getting overcrowded. So
San Diego's a very underrated basketball city.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never been to Seattle, but it seems like with influencers and stuff, it kind of seems like. Never mind. Maybe comparing it to Seattle was probably not the best move because Seattle they got a really big
they got a passionate
hoop culture over there.
Yeah, they got culture over there. And I think over here, like just in terms of like, I don't know if they can see how us SCSU basketball fans feel, and then obviously with UCSD having success as well recently. I think if they can kind of just see how the students are reacting to this and just our alma maters, like alumni, everyone like that. That's like really just excited to see how SCSU plans, excited to see how UCSD is doing. Like maybe the committee or whatever, whoever you got to talk to sees that and it's like, okay, maybe we should bring an NBA team here. But again, because like it's tough, I mean, they made it work in Vegas, but Vegas, I feel like you can get anything in Vegas, like honestly. So. They got the Las Vegas Aces, so they got the women's basketball team over there. So it's like,
yep.
They moved the Raiders over there. So it's like
they're thinking about moving the Dallas Mavericks over there.
Really?
There's a conspiracy that all this happened. They traded Luka. They blah blah blah. They did all that just so that they can either piss off the owners or just like get the team ready to move to a new city, and that city would be Vegas. That's just a conspiracy theory, though, apparently. But
man, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. The Las Vegas Mavericks don't really got much of a ring to it like Dallas does.
They're probably a full rebrand, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, that's probably what it will come down to. So,
you want to get into some questions?
Yes, y'all. So we're gonna get into some of our lovely questions. My favorite segment, your favorite segment, Sharp Angle.
Jesus fucking
get into it, Noah. Get into it.
We just got a few questions. For the first question, can you do a power ranking of the top 5 teams in the NFL right now?
Alrighty. So for my top 5 teams, and this is going based off. I'm going based off. We're 1 week into free agency, and I'm just looking at some teams or like looking at like huge signings for some of these teams. Like number 1 will probably be the reigning Super Bowl champions. It will be the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, like I did mention, they had a lot of turnover, but still the re-signing of Zach Bond and the re-signing of Saquon and locking those guys up really still kind of kept the majority of the roster in place in terms on the offensive side. And then they also picked up some pretty key key pieces as well. They picked up who was it? Hold on, let me see, y'all. It was just at the top of my head. No, if you can figure out who they just recently signed some corner. I don't know. I can't remember who it was.
I'm not even gonna lie. I was disassociating. What are we even talking about?
No, you're good. You're good. We'll just go with that. But so I got the Eagles at number 1. My number 2 team, I got to give it to the Buffalo Bills because they re-signed. They gave Josh Allen that huge contract, and again, it was player friendly as well, so they can really just build around Josh Allen, get him some more weapons. Bolster the offensive line for him and get him, really just help him out. And I think they signed Joey Bosa as well. and hopefully they snagged him from going to the San Francisco 49ers. So hopefully he stays healthy. So I got the Buffalo Bills at 2. My number 3 team, I'm gonna go with the New England Patriots. And like, again, y'all, this is just based off the free agent acquisitions. I think New England did really well. They picked up Milton Williams. I said he was the top defensive guy in this free agency this year. They got Mac Hollins again. I think that wasn't the greatest signing to help Drake May out, but they also got Morgan Moses as well over there, and they paired up Christian Gonzalez with another corner as well. So I'll give those guys number 3. My number 4 team will be the Washington Commanders. The Deebo Samuel's trade really helped out. Is going to really help out Jaden Daniels, I feel like, along the way. And then just to go to number 5, I think the Chicago Bears, because I think they finally did something right in that front office in terms of, I need to protect my star player. I think it was for Caleb Williams, getting him Joe Tooney, and all those guys at Drew Dahlman as well, like bolstering that offensive line. So those are my top 5 teams in the NFL right now.
All right, and then switching it back over to basketball for the last segment. What's your Final Four prediction? I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, but what's your Final Four looking like?
Yeah, so let me pull it up again.
There's like no chance to have a perfect bracket anymore, by the way.
There's literally no chance, but I feel like, but let me tell y'all lock this in right here. This will be your perfect bracket right here. So listen, my Final Four is gonna be Duke, Kentucky. Also, I got St. John's, and I got Auburn. Lock that in, y'all. That is my Final Four. Now let me talk about. We have, like I said, I got some Cinderella. So I got UCSD going to the Sweet 16 as well. I also got, what was it? I got Colorado State as well, probably pushing over to the Sweet 16 as well. Like I said, I think Yale's gonna win as well. I like those teams. Like those are my teams. I think my Cinderella teams. But again, my Final Four again is Auburn. I got Duke. I got St. John's, and I also got Kentucky. So those are my Final Four. What about you, Noah? What do you think? What do you think about those picks?
St. John's is a pretty interesting one. I mean, it's clearly just because of Pitino, right?
And Rick Pitino, and that team is playing really well. I mean, in terms of offensively, like they can score. They got some scorers on that team, and so it is also the Rick Pitino effect. Like, I don't know if you guys understand. Like what is he coached at Iona, and
this is his second year there, right?
That was his second year. So this is his second year at St. John. But when he was at Iona, his first year at Iona, he literally took them to the tournament as well. Like he really trained his programs around. I think just his coaching and his mentality, that plays a huge role in just his experience in the tourney, like really just is what is bolstering him to the Final Four. So,
do you have a winner of those 4?
Ooh,
if you had to choose.
If
Cooper Flagg's healthy, I would say Duke.
That's what I'm saying. If Cooper Flagg is healthy, and this is what I don't know. I think, like I said, their side of their bracket, I feel is very favorable for them. But if Cooper Flagg is not healthy, they might run into somebody that will punch them in the mouth. But if Cooper Flagg is healthy, I think Duke can win it all. If not, I'm gonna give it to Auburn. So,
what you think about Cooper Flagg potentially not entering the NBA draft next year? Just quick, because apparently he's thinking about staying more years at Duke. And not a lot of people do that anymore. Yeah, with football and basketball, they don't stay the full 4 years. They just want to go straight to the league.
They usually go one and done, or sometimes they don't even go to college. They just go straight to the G League or something, or one of those leagues like that. But for him, I think a lot of guys kind of hint that they want to stay just because it's situational. Don't you believe? Don't you believe it's situational? Because whatever team's gonna get that number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft, do you want to go there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're saying that it's probably going to be Charlotte.
Charlotte?
They'd be nice.
It would be nice. You get to play with LaMelo Ball. So I was like, I feel like pairing him with LaMelo Ball can't be the worst thing in the world. I mean, obviously Charlotte isn't like the flashiest place to be. You know, who else might be getting? Who else is in the mix for that?
It's funny because San Antonio is in the lottery right now,
Mm-hmm.
and if they end up with the number 1 pick, it would just be like I forget what year it is, but it would be like Tim Duncan, like them getting Tim Duncan for the number 1 pick, because before, I think it was the year before, they went to the playoffs or something, and then David Robinson was out after like 6 games, so they lost a lot, and they ended up getting the number 1 pick. They got Tim Duncan, and they paired him with David Robinson, and fucking won the championship.
Damn. So you're thinking? So
They won a couple, so they might. I mean, think about it. If it's San Antonio, they got De'Aaron Fox, they got Wemby, they still got Chris Paul as like a veteran, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and then Cooper Flagg, just like being Cooper Flagg. Like that's a pretty scary team.
That is a really scary team, and I think. See, I feel like if it is San Antonio, because wait, when do they even find out? Do they have to make the announcement before? Do you know if they have to make the announcement before they find out?
There's a lottery coming, and then yeah.
Okay, so if it's San Antonio, I say leave Duke and go to San Antonio. Go play with Wemby, because who wouldn't want to play with Wemby? But like I said, I mean it depends. Like if it is like the likes of Charlotte, I don't know if Washington's in the mix as well. Like if you're going to somewhere like that, like. I mean, what is it? The rookie Alex Sarr, like they got him. So I mean,
yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's just he needs to be put in the best situation. I think and then going from Duke. I think for a lot of these players too, just going from these blue blood colleges, like going from there, and then going to one of these NBA teams, that are struggling. Like obviously, if Cooper Flagg goes, he's gonna be the number 1. He's gonna be number 1 overall pick. I think he should still, just. I think he should be the face though of a franchise. So that's what I'm saying. Like if he does go to Charlotte, I mean they got LaMelo, but Cooper Flagg could really probably outshine LaMelo, I believe, just based off his skill sets. If he does go somewhere like Washington, he can definitely try to be the star there as well. But like I said, I know you said that they really have. Like a lot of players don't do that anymore. They don't just stay. They just kind of they go one and done or whatever.
I feel like they shouldn't sometimes. I mean, it's the development that they get at the college level is pretty. I mean, look at Dalton Connect for the Lakers. He stayed at Tennessee.
He stayed
for 4 years. Yeah, he stayed at Tennessee for 4 years, and then once he came into the league, everybody was looking at him like he was the steal of the draft. Obviously, he cooled down a little bit through the middle of the season, but yeah, he was looking like the steal of the draft for sure.
I think because I know in women's you're required to do 4 years. So
really,
yeah. So women's basketball, like you have to go 4 years before, or you have to be. I think what is it? Either 4 years or you have to turn 23.
Oh, you have to be Juju Watkins because there's no fucking way she's gonna, dude.
Yeah, like Juju, like someone like Juju Watkins, like
she can go right now.
Like she could have gone, like she could have gone last year, but with the rules in place for NCAA,
right?
At least for women's sport, which maybe I can understand. I'm not too sure why it is that way, but like I said, they have to do 4 years, or they will have to be turning 23 that year to enter the WNBA. But they also did too. So a lot of because even if a lot of folks are transferring from like maybe a community college, they actually just passed a law basically resetting your 4 years. So you go to community college for those 2 years, and then you transfer over to a 4 year. You can get your 4 years back, and you can go those 4 years and really develop your skills in terms of whatever sport you're playing. If it is basketball, if it is football, you get those 4 years back. I don't know if it actually got put in place yet, but I know it was a discussion being made, and I really like that decision though. So
yeah, it's like 6 years of development that you can really
literally 6 years of development, and like and you can really just and within those 6 years, like I said, you can get your degree, and then really just figure out from there, like if you do well in your sport, or if you got to just move on, you know what I'm saying? So and you could be a podcaster like me, maybe, so whichever one happens.
Oh, okay.
So. Oh man. Well, y'all, that wraps it up for this episode. Keep on listening, y'all. Keep on tuning in. I'm gonna keep giving you guys exciting news and giving you guys my thoughts on everything. Make sure to follow all my my Instagram, This Week in Sports Pod, right? Or is it Pods? This Week in Sports Pod. I gotta figure that out. But also my TikTok. I've been posting a lot of videos, live reactions of things that's been going on as well. We don't have a Twitter set up, so don't even worry about that. But you know, like I said, listen to us on YouTube and Spotify. You know, shout out to Noah again, and then like I said, give a huge shout out to my sister. You know, I love you, sis. So you guys have a good one.